Welcome back to the channel. I feel like it's been such a long time since we've had a sit down video. I've been vlogging a lot, but I like doing both. I think sometimes it's nice to vlog and take you along for the day, the life, whatever. But I also think it's really nice to sometimes just sit down and fucking talk, like just yap. Today's video is going to be about romance anime that I think you should watch this summer. I think you should watch them at any point in time, but we're in the summertime. So we're going to make this a summer recommendation video. And it's only going to be anime because I haven't really read too much romance manga. I mean, if you want to hear me go on and on and on and on about one of the best romance manga I've read, which is like one of two at this point, then I will link my video for the Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity because that is absolutely beautiful. And I'm pretty sure we're getting an anime in September. I'm so excited. I keep watching the trailers on YouTube like every single day. I watch the trailers at least one time because I cannot wait to get my hands on that show. But for today, we're just gonna focus on anime that's already out that you can watch. I think all of these, I watch dubbed anime. Hee hee ha ha. I don't know. Some people are like really gung ho about anime when it comes to like how you consume it, but I watch dubbed anime, so all of these can be watched in English, and I'm sure all of them can be watched in Japanese with subtitles if that's what you prefer as well. But these are romance anime that I have watched, some that I have rewatched many times, and I just really like them. I love them. I'm such a lover girl. I really am. I mean, like with fictional people and things, like don't touch me. But for today's video, we're gonna go through the four that I would highly, highly recommend. I will die on the hill that you should watch these romance anime this summer. Again, any of these can be watched at any point in time. I just want to talk about them now. So we're gonna talk about them now. Starting off super, super strong with my absolute favorite romance anime of all time, Fruits Basket. If you don't know about Fruits Basket, then that means that you are new to the anime world, which is totally okay. Here, take my hand. Come with me, please. We are going to be watching Fruits Basket this year because it's so fucking good. I think I've watched it like 3 or 4 times now. Yeah. Toru, who is this young high school girl, and she loses her mom. She loses her mom in an accident, and she ends up kind of like homeless, pretty much. So she's living in the woods, and turns out that she's living in the woods behind a Soma residence. And the Soma family is like really prestigious and like really cool and like mysterious family. Turns out that some of these Somas are zodiac animals, and it's so cool and it's so sweet and cute watching them transform into their zodiac animals. I get giddy just thinking about it. Sorry. The point is, it's a lot of fun to watch, but it also does have some more serious themes. Like there are characters who definitely struggle with a sense of not belonging and not having a community or support system for themselves. There are characters who struggle with kind of having come from like a different background and the stigma that follows them because of that. It's beautiful. It deals with a lot of grief and loss, but also like friendships and nurturing relationships, platonic and romantic equally. It's a really beautiful romance anime. You really get to like dive deep into the characters. It never feels rushed. It never feels like we're glazing over something or we're just going surface level. You really get to just deep dive into the characters, who they are, what makes them tick, what motivates them. And then watching them each kind of find their like little slice of happiness as you watch is it's honestly so heartwarming. It's so heartwarming and it's so beautiful. I would 100, I mean, it goes without saying, it's my favorite romance anime. I would 100% recommend that you watch it. I will say they are younger. There's some of the characters that are older. The main characters though are younger, like they're teenagers. So there are times where like, that typical anime over the top exaggerated reaction stuff, you're going to find that sometimes it will feel like they're being a little childish, but they are kids, and they're kids, but they're kind of like dealing with like real adult problems. I don't know. It's a weird mashup, but it really works for the show in my opinion. It's really cute. You will cry. I definitely cried. Kyo has my entire heart. He has my entire heart, my baby boy. And if you know, you know, but the scene with him and Toru in the rain. Yeah, that got me. I was a mess watching that episode. I was a disaster watching them just navigate such a difficult like experience, conversation. I don't know. That made the show for me. That moment moving forward, I was like, yeah, there's nothing that can top this show for me ever again. And nothing has topped it. But we do have some pretty close calls. We got some shows that did come really close. I don't know, maybe it's because that was like my first true romance anime, but I just cannot get over all of the different relationships and like how everything was pretty toxic in the beginning, but they just learned how to nurture healthy relationships. It was beautiful. It was really good. I haven't read the manga. I feel like that is something that I would want to kind of like set out the time to read the entirety of. I don't think that I would want to read it like I've been reading manga lately, where it's like, oh, I read a volume here and I read a volume there and there's another one here. I think that's something I would want to just like, that's what I'm reading for that month, is just Fruits Basket. So highly, highly recommend. If you haven't seen it, definitely give it a try. I think it's great for the summer. It is a little bit longer. The rest of these don't have as many seasons or as many episodes, excuse me, but they all have the same quality of just like vibrancy. Like the animation and the characters themselves are very vibrant. They just all scream fresh and like maybe because they're younger, I don't know. It's wonderful. They're wonderful. Highly recommend. And if you've watched Fruits Basket, please let me know. I love to kiki about it. I get so giddy when I love something. I get really giddy. It's actually quite embarrassing. All right, up next on the list is A Sign of Affection. I just watched this one actually in one of my vlogs. I was having a tough mental health weekend, few days, and I watched A Sign of Affection, and the way that it just breathed love into my heart. I don't even know. That sounded so corny. In A Sign of Affection, you follow Yuki and Itsuomi. They are college students. Yuki's 19 and Itsuomi is 22. These are going to be the oldest characters out of the animes that I talk today. I have seen others where the characters are like adult age and like workplace romances, but those have a slightly different vibe, so I didn't feel like they fit in today's video. But A Sign of Affection is, once again, it's very vibrant, it's beautiful, the characters have a ton of depth to them, and I don't think it necessarily just comes from the fact that they are older characters. I think it's also because we're dealing with a young woman, Yuki, who is deaf, and she's been deaf for as long as she can remember, since she was a kid. And it's all about like, you really get to see her grapple with navigating a world that relies so heavily on sound, and how communicating with this world is also so heavily reliant on sound and being able to speak the things that you want someone else to understand. And there are several moments where Yuki is like really trying to understand what's going on around her, but she doesn't get to have those context clues that we're so used to because she's not conversating verbally with others, you know? She's trying to read lips, but the moment somebody turns their head a funny way, she can no longer read their lips, or if you speak too quickly. And there's so much substance to A Sign of Affection. It really is probably one of the most healthy ass romance animes I think I've ever watched, and I've watched a number of them at this point. It literally just reeks of healthy relationships the entire time. And Itsuomi is 22, and that is the love interest. And he is a young man that's very, very worldly, very cultured, very traveled. And he has this real appreciation for communicating with others. And that's something that he takes and brings with him every time he travels, is how to teach these young children in these other countries to communicate. And he himself learning how to communicate with them. And it becomes apparent through some stuff that happens and like a little bit of storytelling why he's so big on communication and like getting to see the world through other people's eyes. And so when he meets Yuki and he realizes like, oh, Yuki can't, she's deaf, she can't talk to me, we have to use sign language, his immediate response is to throw himself into learning how to communicate with Yuki, how to see the world through her eyes, how to be so open-minded and malleable to something that is very, very foreign to him. And it's incredibly heartwarming and it's just so sweet, but it also is, it just feels very organic. It doesn't ever feel overdone. I don't know, this is gonna sound really, really cheesy, and I almost don't want to say it on the internet because once it's there, it can never be taken off, but I feel like Itsuomi is kind of like the blueprint for a really good guy, because that is not something that is like confined to this fictional anime story. I feel like Itsuomi and who he is and how he behaves in relation, in like in correspondence with how he feels about Yuki and grows to feel about her, like that should be the standard. I don't know. Like, Itsuomi is so, I love him so much. Do you see me? I get so giddy. I get so giddy. I love that feeling. It happens to me with books sometimes, but like I've noticed that romance anime send me spiraling into just like pure schoolgirl giddiness. I cannot help it. I love it so much. But Sign of Affection is definitely, it's a slightly deeper romance anime that deals with communication. How do you tell somebody that you love them when you can't use your words? How do you show somebody that you care about them when you can't just say it? And it's incredible, guys. It's incredible. And it only has 12 episodes, so it is definitely one that you can binge. And I will say, maybe I shouldn't, but I want to say, like, if you sit down to watch A Sign of Affection, before you know it, you're going to be at the last episode. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's not just about Yuki and Itsuomi. There are other characters and couples that you also get to see how they navigate communication and learning each other. I think that's a really big theme in A Sign of Affection, is how do you learn the person that you are growing to care about? How do you learn the things that they like without them necessarily having to tell you? And it's just beautiful. If you can't tell from my like super crazy cheesing, it's a beautiful anime. I absolutely love it. It's really quick to binge. It's really easy to binge. Like, it's just all around lovable. I'm so curious if they're going to come out with another season, because the show did wrap up pretty well. I felt like the closure worked. So I'm curious if there is going to be another season, what it could be about, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I watched it, I think it was on Saturday night. As soon as I was done watching it, I was like, do I want to watch it again? It's so good. Okay, next up is one that I really do not hear much about at all. And I don't know why, because it's like really cute. It's a little silly, but it's also still, it still grapples with some like more serious themes a little bit. Not quite as much as the first two, but A Condition Called Love is, it's so cute. It's just so cute, and it's quirky. And I think that that is one thing that sticks out about this one. It is incredibly quirky. Like, the characters in A Condition Called Love are kind of weird, but like in the most endearing way possible. In A Condition Called Love, you follow Hotaru and Hananoi, if I'm saying it correctly. Hotaru is both high school, they're both in high school, but Hotaru is a young woman who comes from like a really stable background. There's lots of love in her family. You know, there's not really much darkness to her life, to her history, but she's never experienced romantic affection. She's never had a boyfriend. She doesn't really understand it. She doesn't think she's ever gonna feel it. And then on the other side, you have Hananoi, who is very standoffish, but still somehow popular with the ladies. The bad boy persona, right? And he recently breaks up with his girlfriend and then starts dating Hotaru. And he's such a little weirdo, but like, I loved him. I thought he was so cute. I couldn't help it. So his parents don't really pay attention to him. And I think throughout the series, you watch him kind of like deal with those abandonment issues. And at first, it's like he kind of doesn't want to deal with it head on. But through his relationship with Hotaru, he does come to kind of, in small moments, he does kind of grapple and then face head on the fact that his parents aren't there when they should be there. Especially because in comparison to Hotaru, his parents are like very, very disassociated from him, detached. And it's really sad, and it portrays itself in this like somewhat creepy but like still endearing, it's really, really weird, you have to watch it to understand, attachment. He develops an attachment to Hotaru that is borderline too much, and there are moments where she herself is like, I need space. I need you to like unhinge yourself from me. But I think for Hananoi, it's one of the first times that he's experiencing true unconditional affection, and he just doesn't want to let go of it. He doesn't want to lose it. And you just watch them be like a cute, quirky high school couple, and it's very sweet, it's very heartwarming, incredibly innocent. I absolutely loved it. And my favorite part of this one is actually Hananoi. He kind of has that like bad boy, stay away from me persona going on, like I said. And that tends to attract a lot of attention when I think that those type of people usually don't want as much attention. Hananoi is very like standoffish. He doesn't really want you in his face. He doesn't want to build connections. I think it's because he doesn't know how to, not necessarily because he doesn't want to. But I love the fact that despite all of that, he's still a good-hearted person. Like he still tries his best to be good to Hotaru, and he still tries his best to be a decent human being, even though he is kind of like, I don't really want to, you know? But when he's with Hotaru, you can tell that he's giving into that nurturing aspect, that nurturing side of himself, let's say. It's really sweet. It's really sweet. It's a little quirky, like I said, but I think that brings and adds more character to the characters and to their story. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And again, that one, the only one that's longer is Fruits Basket, but the rest of these are just a season. A part of me almost wants to have like a romance anime watchathon where all I watch all weekend is romance anime. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. That would be so much fun. And the last one for today's video, it's not to say that these are the only 4 that I've watched that I liked. I like a lot of them, but this is the list of the ones that I feel like if I had to convince you to watch 4, these would be the 4. I don't know. I just felt like I had to narrow it down to 4. But the last one is Say I Love You. This one is how do I explain it? So you have more high school characters. You have Tachibana, who doesn't have a great happy background, right? And she is the very lone wolf detached character, not forming relationships, not trying to get close to people. And you learn why as you watch the anime, the show. Whereas Kurosara is whatever. He is the more popular one. He's the one that everybody's always after, and he's, you know, the ladies like him and this and that. And this one, I think there are moments in Say I Love You where I feel like the relationship between them is a tad toxic because you have 2 characters who do not really know how to be with each other. They don't know how to be with a romantic partner, and they're learning it together. But the communication breaks down several times, so it almost feels like, well, why didn't you just tell him this? Why aren't you explaining this to her? So this one is a little bit, it's gonna try your nerves a little bit. There were multiple times where I was like, I don't know if I can finish this because y'all are pissing me off. Tachibana, because of how reserved she is, she doesn't feel like she can stand up for herself. She doesn't feel like she could speak up and say, hey, this is making me uncomfortable and I don't like it. And it's something that she starts to learn towards the end of the season of the show. Kurosara is somebody who, there is a point where I feel like his ignorance leads to his ignorance leads to harmfulness. But I think it just goes to show that when you are so ignorant that you kind of can't see what you're doing wrong, there is going to come a moment where your ignorance is going to stop being neutral, and it is going to start to become harmful. And I think that's something that you see in a Say I Love You, that Kurosawa's ignorance about how to navigate this relationship with Tachibana unfortunately does get to a point where he does hurt her. But she's so reserved and so quiet and to herself, she feels like she can't say anything or like she shouldn't say anything. And I think that out of all of the animes that we've talked about today, Say I Love You is the one where you see the most conflict. I feel like you see the most true conflict between the couple, and it's not the easiest one to watch. As far as like the others are very heartwarming, happy-go-lucky, I got really giddy. With Say I Love You, I was kind of like invested and on the edge of my seat to figure out, can these 2 people make it work? Can they figure out how to talk to each other, how to communicate with each other? Can they figure out how to be in this relationship without harming each other due to their ignorance? And that is why that one is on this list, because it's really nice to watch like cutesy stuff all the time, but sometimes it's nice to watch a romance where they do struggle quite a bit. And the thing with this one is they get together pretty early on, so you get to watch almost like the entirety of their relationship play out, and you get to see where they start this conflict, and then whether or not they can figure it out and stay together, or whether they might have to like break up. I don't know. It's like I said, it's one of the more somber ones that I've mentioned in this video, but it's still really good. And it still will kind of give you a little bit of butterflies in your tummy because there are such sweet moments between them. And there are moments where they have some self-discovery that will warm your heart. I think with Say I Love You, it's more about the singular characters and their growth versus like them growing as a couple. For me at least, that it just felt more important to me to watch Tachibana by herself and then to watch Kurosawa by himself versus watching them together. That was important. It was part of it. Obviously, it's the point. But watching them develop was a little bit more meaningful to me. And it's just it really is a genuinely sweet romance anime. It's sweet, but it also has its serious moments. I think it's great to balance out like what we're watching because it's nice to be giddy and like the butterflies and giggling and throwing up because you just don't know what to do with yourself because they're so cute. But also sometimes it's good to have that moment of like, golly gee, y'all are pissing me off. How are we gonna figure this out? And then you watch them kind of figure it out. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. But I think that's enjoyable too. And yeah, these are 4 romance anime specifically, that I think you guys should watch. If you like anime, if you like romance anime, if you don't know where to start with romance anime, sorry, I love romance. I don't know why. I definitely think that you could start with any one of these 4 anime. They're so much fun. They're a lot of fun to watch. Some of them have learning moments. Some of them are literally just gonna have you giggling, hee hee ha haing by yourself on the couch. But I would highly recommend all of them. And I'm definitely thinking about a watch-a-thon now after I mentioned it. Like, do I want to just watch romance anime for a whole weekend? Because, like, if you have any romance recommendations, please drop them down below. I have a list and I want it to grow. I want it to grow. I did a video not too long ago when it was the fragrant flower, I think, and I got some really good recommendations from some of my friends, and I would love to see the list grow because I think romance anime is probably like my favorite, to be honest. I don't read a ton of romance book-wise, but when it comes to watching romance anime, I'm in there like swimwear. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for watching the video and sticking out till the end. I will see you for the next one. And as always, happy watching.